Welcome to the InStoryShow. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host, and this year in theme in the fall is Dare to be Seen. It's finally your turn. We're going to delve into how to come out of hiding, share your story, your gifts, and your creativity with the world. And today I am thrilled to welcome Phoenix Rising Star. Hi, Phoenix.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled you're here. And the trajectory of our interview today is really going to take everybody into a very deep place of how to trust your inner guidance. What does it mean to heal or transform cellular memory? And what does it mean to open up your senses so you can actually receive and make this transformation? And it's really a key factor in coming out of hiding and having the courage to be seen. So, where I'd love to start, though, Phoenix, being the storyteller that I am, is with a little bit of your story. And having listened to you talk, I know that there's something that started since you were 5 years old. And I said, will you talk a little about that?
I'd be happy to. And actually, it probably started before I was five, but that's my first conscious memory, right? And so I've talked to angels all my life, but when I was five, I didn't know that's who I was talking to. I just knew that they were my friends, right? And one day my mom overheard me talking and she said, Honey, who are you talking to? And I said, Well, my friends, like, can't you see them? They're right over here. And she said, Oh, honey, those are just imaginary friends. They have to go away now. So I said, Okay, you have to go away now. And I sent them away because I didn't know any different. But fortunately for me, they didn't always stay away. Thank goodness. But we weren't as active for a long time. They would come in when there was something I needed to know, like if there was a death in the family, I always knew it before anybody else did. When the phone would ring, I would know who was on the phone. Sometimes I'd even know why they were calling, and I'd tell my mom, hey, did you talk about this? And she'd go, How did you know that? Were you listening? And I'm like, No, no, I just knew. I didn't know how I knew. I just knew, right? So that kind of went on off and on, through my early adulthood, where I would hear things because I'm very auditory. So I would hear things when I needed to know them, or I'd know them when I needed to know them. But it wasn't like a daily thing. It was more like that little inner voice would just get my attention if I needed it. Like, be careful, don't turn here because there's an accident, that kind of thing. But when I had been teaching in the public schools for a number of years, and I was getting really frustrated. I mean, I love teaching. I am a teacher 100%, and it doesn't matter really what I teach, but it was how I was teaching and under what conditions I was teaching that were getting really frustrating for me. And so my health was suffering, my relationships were suffering, my productivity at work was suffering because I wasn't happy, but I didn't think that I didn't know what to do. All I knew was I'm supposed to be a teacher. Why isn't this working? So I didn't want to go talk to a counselor or anything because that's just who I was. I'm a do-it-yourselfer, right? So I go get a book on meditation that says, connect with your angels. Let's talk to your angels. And I'm like, oh, good. I'll talk to my angels. That'll be great. So I sit down in meditation and what comes through is quit your job. And I'm like, quit my job? That's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted some magic that would come in and just fix everything, right? Not quit my job. So I quit meditation, which, which, I just thought, oh, that's not my solution. But here it was. I was getting sicker. My relationships were suffering more. My productivity went just down the tubes. So 3 months later, I went back into meditation. I said, okay, let's talk about quitting my job, which it took me about 9 months to get all that courage together and everything put in place, but I did, and I've never looked back because it allowed me to do what I wanted to do, secretly longing to do, in the way that I wanted to do it, for the people that I wanted to help the most. And I've never been happier than doing that. So, Really what I'm talking about, not everybody talks to angels, I understand that, but there is some inner knowing, inner wisdom that is from source energy or the divine or from within your higher self, whatever terms you want to use that you're comfortable with. But there's something that knows more than our conscious mind knows. And when we can tap into that, we get that higher wisdom, higher knowledge that takes us to a better, happier place that's more in alignment with our heart and our soul. And that's what I have now started to teach others how to do, how to find that inner voice, how to tap into that, how to receive it, how to trust it, and then act on it.
So, what have you seen happen that's been significant? As you've started to do this work, what are you seeing in yourself, in others? Like, why is it so important?
Wow. Um, well, when we're not in alignment with our heart and our soul in terms of why we are here and what we are meant to do, then things don't flow very well.
Mhm,
Things are hard. Things are not fun. It's like
mhm,
there's no joy here. There's nothing to share with people,
mhm.
But when you are aligned with who you are and why you're here, everything gets easier. People come to you. You have remarkable synchronicities in your life that you just think, wow, how did that even happen? You have support in areas where you never dreamed you'd have support. Everything flows. Everything is fun. You rediscover the zest in your life again. And it's not just me saying that, it's all of my students and clients who
Mm.
have also gone through this and have experienced the same thing. It just gets easier and better and more fun.
I agree.
I know, right? Look at you.
I completely agree. I'm always talking about this, and we have so many different ways in, but I think as humans, we're like starving for
Yes,
access to this other realm. And it's
yes.
so vast and rich. And, I taught also when I wrote my undergraduate thesis on the importance of imagination in learning,
Oh, nice.
and it's still not being done.
No, I know.
So I had the same journey as you out of teaching. I said, they're not getting it and they're not
Yeah,
letting me teach it.
yeah, yeah.
So, so tell us a little bit more about what you're teaching now. Like I know you have some steps and things, and then we're eventually going to actually give people a taste of one of your processes. Because one of the things is we might not be kids anymore, but I'm telling people we get to have ourselves back. Like
Oh,
we
yes.
who are older, we have this extraordinary opportunity now.
Hmm.
And that's a lot of the theme of this whole series is giving us women in particular over 50, you younger women can do it too, but
Right.
to access this realm and make a difference. And I just feel how much you're doing that.
I live every day like this because I can't imagine not doing it anymore,
Mhm.
And it just has changed my life so much that to not honor it and live like this every day would be not honoring who I am anymore. So, one of the things that I help people first with is understanding how you connect with that inner knowing, that inner wisdom or source energy or
Mhm.
whatever term you want to use. And I'll just use source energy for a generic term for right now. So, in our society, we tend to be very visual. I mean, we've got billboards, we've got TV, we've got video games, everything is visual. So we assume that we're all visual and we're just going to see things. But what happens is, if you're not a visual person in terms of how you receive your information, you're going to get a little frustrated because you're going to think it's not working for you, or you're going to think, I can't do this. Our old programming is going to come up and get in the way of trying something new because it just doesn't seem to work for you. So, what I do is I take people through a guided meditation to help them get in touch with all of their senses because the way we receive, it's going to come in through the sense that is strongest for us. I'm very auditory. I have always heard voices in my head, which makes me kind of laugh, but I know that because I trust them with my heart, that they are trustworthy, loving voices that are helping me on my path. As opposed to if you hear things in your head that are fearful, that's not the same kind of thing at all, right? So, not everybody's auditory though. Some people will feel things like within their body. Maybe they feel like stress or tension or trauma or, tightness. Some people will just feel goosebumps, and that's just a confirmation for them.
Mhm.
Other people have this knowing without knowing how they know. And that's one of the hardest ones to trust because they don't feel like they have something to confirm it. They can't see it, they can't hear it, they just know it. But once they get over that hump of trusting it, it becomes their best ally, as is true for all of our senses. And there's even our auditory sense, you know? So, like when I smell roses, I know that that's Mother Mary. And she comes in for women and children who have been hurt really badly. So then that's a way I can share that with them. But then when I teach them to open up their olfactory sense, sometimes they'll smell cookies and they'll associate that with their grandmother, or a pipe connecting to someone, a long lost relative or whatever it might be. So we have so many senses. We just have to know how we are receiving so that we're not missing any message at all, right? We just want to be on with everything.
Well, and I think part of the problem is that just like your story with your mom who said, "Oh no, you need to tell them to leave." Our kind-hearted, loving adults, even the ones who were good adults, they shut us down. And some people it was just like your mom being nice, so to speak, and others it was terrible things that happened to them. And
Right.
so we shut it down.
Yep, yep. And that's known as cellular memory. So that's kind of the second thing that we cover. Cellular memory is actually a record of all of our experiences. So our good ones, our joyful ones, they don't get in our way. But our painful ones, our traumatic ones, our sad ones, those are the ones we hold on to, and they really affect how we respond in our life. So, for instance, if you are a female who's been abused by a male, even if that relationship is ended, if you haven't cleared this on a cellular level, what you're doing is just broadcasting abuse out there through your pheromones. And the men who are abusers are just automatically attracted to that, and they know exactly what they're going to find with you. And so therefore, you end up repeating that same pattern of abuse over and over again because it hasn't been healed at a cellular level. And this is true for all patterns, but that's just an easy one for many people to relate to. If we've been shut down and told we were stupid for trying something new and didn't get it right the first time, we may carry that feeling of, oh, I can't do anything. I'm not going to start. I can't do anything. I'm stupid. I mean, that's been confirmed to me, and so it keeps us from showing our light to the world,
Mhm.
right? So cellular memory is it's really easy to heal if we know how to do that. And really, again, we're tapping into that inner wisdom, that inner knowledge to help heal that and the power of love. And when you have all of that together, it's very simple to heal without repeating any of the experiences you've gone through that were painful.
Wow. So say a little bit more about what is cellular, how does it work? How do you do
Okay.
cellular healing? And
Right. So,
I know we were going to do something with senses, but maybe we can throw in a little bit of, I don't know how long or involved it is, but I
sure.
think it's a really, I think it's so important to talk about this because
Yes.
a lot of people are trapped in an idea that that's too hard to
Yes.
do. And this
Yes.
whole new thinking is, I think it's so important.
Right. Scientists are actually catching up with the energy workers in this.
Good.
I know, right? They're finding that there's things that they can trace back, not just through our own experiences in our lifetime, but through our ancestors' experiences. For instance, there were scientists that were studying the children of Holocaust victims, and the Holocaust victims were in the camps, but they did not have children at the time they were in the camps. So then after the camps and they survived all of that, when they had children and their children were the ages that their parents had been while in the camps, their children started having post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms
Wow.
related to being in the camps when they weren't in the camps. And
Mhm.
so we're starting to discover that we're carrying memories in our DNA where we didn't even realize that. So we could be reacting out of not just our experiences, but our ancestors'
Mhm.
experiences as well. So some of the ways that we heal this, one of the easiest ways that I offer people, and I teach this, and it's also in my new book called The Hollow Bone of Healing, and it's just a really easy guided meditation where you're working with either an angel or a guide or that higher wisdom, higher knowledge, higher self, whatever source energy you want to work with. It's of the highest and the best, and you ask them to just come in with love and just to heal whatever needs to be healed. And it's a very short, simple, guided meditation that works without you having to relive anything, but you feel so clear afterwards that you know something has changed. And then when you go out into the world and you're no longer repeating old patterns that weren't working for you, you really know that that's how you've changed at a cellular level.
All right. So is that, I mean, I know we were going to do the other one, but is that one, I mean, is that something you could do live like this now, or would you rather people go find it in your world? Because
Well,
obviously
the
you
hard
haven't.
thing, yeah, the hard thing about doing it now is that we don't know how they're receiving their information.
Right.
And so
Okay.
opening their senses really has to be the first
Okay.
step. And then this is a great second step. But
Okay.
they can find this in my book really easily because
Okay. Great.
both techniques are in there. So they can
Okay.
just, it's called the hollow bone of healing. So
Okay, good. Well, right. And they'll have, and when they get your free gift, which we'll talk about at the end, they'll have a link and they'll to find everything of yours.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, all right, well, should we go and do the opening the senses
Sure.
process, and then we can talk a little bit more about how people can use that
Yes.
afterwards? Because a lot of
But
this is that build, I know this is that foundation to building that trust
right,
in their
right.
inner guidance. I get that because it's like, how do I hear it in my head, but how do I
Yeah.
know if I just made it up
Yes, yes. And so maybe we can find a way to just kind of put a little cellular memory clearing in
at the
there.
end of that?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
All
Okay,
right, good.
whatever, you'll just get your higher guidance too.
Yeah,
So
good. Exactly, just open it up and here we go.
awesome.
So I usually do a guided meditation and I invite people to close their eyes. And even with my eyes closed, I tend to talk with my hands. So I usually turn off my video, but if you'd rather, I could keep it on. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, why don't you keep yours? Why don't we just keep them on for now? And
Sure.
it's okay. I'll keep
Yeah.
mine on too.
Okay. All right. So if you're listening at home or wherever you're listening, don't be driving while you're listening to this, because this is a meditation that we need you to be very consciously aware of whatever else you might be doing. So find a place where you can sit or lie down comfortably and just allow your breathing to become slow and rhythmic at a rate that works for you. And you'll find that in kind of mentally slowing your breath down, what happens is your brain activity starts to slow down as well, and your nervous system begins to slow down, and your heart rate slows down. And that is all signaling your body that you're getting ready for a big transformational change, even though it may not sound like it's a very big change that we're creating here, it has ramifications that will change you and help you significantly into your future. And there's a part of you that already knows that. Good. So I invite you to just center your awareness in your heart. And if you can, begin to feel feelings of unconditional love. Now, sometimes we've never been lucky enough to have that experience with a human. So if that's the case, I invite you to remember an experience that maybe you had it with a four-legged or an animal that you were very close to. Or maybe you were in nature and you just felt so connected to everything around you. Or maybe you even had an epiphany with the divine or with source energy that just changed you so unbelievably there was no going back. So all of these can generate those feelings of unconditional love within you. And it's really important that we start everything with love. It's a form of self-love, and it's a way of opening your heart to better receive information, which is what we're doing right now. Good. So now let's invite in maybe a helper for today. Could be your higher self, could be an angel, could be a guide, could be Jesus, Mother Mary, Buddha, whoever you're connected with. And this guide is going to help you with all of your senses to really see, sense, feel, and know how you are receiving your energy in the best and most positive way for you. So I began with your inner eyesight. Not your literal eyesight, but your inner eyesight. This is the one that sees colors or geometry or shapes, sometimes even handwriting that consciously you don't know what it means, but intuitively you do. Just open up that inner sight and allow yourself to receive if that's appropriate for you. And if you feel like you're getting nothing, that's okay too. Don't worry about it. We've got all these other senses we're going to be working with. And let's open up our inner ears. Not our literal ears, but our inner ears that hear conversations that nobody else gets to hear. Or maybe you're hearing tones and frequencies that nobody else hears either, and they have meaning for you. You just maybe haven't discovered that yet. And let's open up your skin. Your skin is a huge receptor because it gets feelings and sensations of temperature and pressure. Goosebumps, or truth bumps, as some people call them, are just confirmations of what you're knowing or sensing. And let's open up your olfactory, your nose sense, and see what you might be smelling that nobody else is smelling. Maybe it's flowers or some fragrance or a perfume or cookies or a pipe or whatever it is that needs your attention to let you know that someone is there for you, that you have that support through that memory. And opening up that knowing without knowing how you know. There is a part of you that is really tapped into that. And it may be held in different places in your body. Sometimes it's in your gut, where you go, I just had this gut knowing, this gut feeling. And sometimes it's in your heart, because you can say, oh, yeah, I feel that in my heart. And it may be located someplace else too. So just kind of be aware and look for where you hold that knowing. And then because we're so multisensory, you may have a combination of senses that really work for you. So I'm auditory, but sometimes I'll see things and sometimes I'll smell things. And so just be aware that you may have a combination that works for you. And as all of your senses are now open, let's invite your helper to just do a little cellular clearing here. And with your senses open, you will probably have an awareness of at least where it might be held in your body, if it is held in your body, or maybe it's outside of your body, like in your energy field. You also might have an awareness of what it is, but you don't have to relive anything to let it go. You just have to be willing to let it go. Sometimes people feel it as like a release. You feel like an opening, or you may feel a coolness, or you may feel a warmth or a tingling. Sometimes you have an actual remembrance and you go, oh, yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Okay, I'm letting that go. Could be a person that you're releasing, or an event or an experience. Usually it's anything that it has hurt you or is in your way in some way. It's preventing you from shining your light and from being seen. So just let it go. That's all you have to do. And when you let it go, what is coming in for you is a sense of divine essence, which means different things for different people. Sometimes it means courage, and sometimes it means unconditional love for yourself, and sometimes it means forgiveness, and sometimes it means acceptance, So allow it to be whatever it is for you, whatever has the most meaning for you now. This doesn't take very long. And some of you will continue long after this interview is done to just have remembrances and releases because it can go on for as long as it needs to. And some of you will be done very quickly, and it's all perfect. But you want to make sure that you drink a lot of water today because you've just moved a lot of energy. But now you know your best ways to receive, and you have a quick release system for what doesn't serve you, what might be in your way. And those are the most important things to take away with you today. So when you're ready, you can come back into your body and back into the room. And here we are.
Beautiful.
Quick and easy, right?
I love that you offered us to go through an experiential process, and we have a Facebook group for the In Story group. So I want to invite everybody to share an experience from that, any questions, and Phoenix herself will come in, be happy to come in and check in the group, and so will I. And that is one of the ways that we create this safe space to connect with each other, which we'll have for the summit. And then Phoenix, you can talk a little bit now, probably be a good time, about kind of how you've created that in your world and your gift and invitation you have for people.
Absolutely, because community is such an important piece, especially when we're making great change in our life. We can't do it if we think we're the only one going through it in the entire universe, you know? And sometimes that's how it feels,
Mhm.
especially if you don't have anyone you can talk to about these kinds of things. So creating an online community is a beautiful gift because it shows people I'm not alone and I actually have someone I can share this with, and it gives them a platform to be seen and heard and to be sharing that so that you can have help with integrating your experiences. And so I've created something like that too, and it's called the Hollow Bone Society. And so this is a place where we get together to just post all kinds of things that are related to opening our senses, relating to trusting our guidance, clearing our cellular memory, starting something new, putting ourselves out there, letting go of the fear. You know, this is where we can share all of that. Plus, it has 8+ hours of like training that you can go through these kinds of exercises and receive the benefits of that. And it's all free. It's all free.
Wow, wow, so good. That is so awesome. There's such a thing happening in the world now that many of us are being pulled towards each other. And that is what I want to say to people. That's why it's much safer now
Yeah,
for you to dare to be seen and come out of hiding, because we can do that with each other. And it's different because when we tried to do it before, those people didn't want to hear what we have to say.
it's true.
Now we have communities where we want to hear each other.
Yes. Yes. And people are looking for that support because they know it's out there. They just didn't know how to find it before. So you are offering a huge gift to the world. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and it's so exciting because there is this sense that there's this opening, and with the internet now, we are now employing it for this very high good
Yes.
in terms of finding each other and
Yes.
to connect with each other and bring this out into the world. Um, so I know there was also just some 3 steps you wanted to mention. And
Hmm.
before we wrap up, maybe you can also, we went into the expanded realm, but there's also the thinking realm. So
Well, so definitely you need to know how you're receiving your information from that
I love that.
inner
I'm so
knowing.
glad because I think it's really meaningful to give people a little bit of the experience. So
Yeah.
I love that. That was really great.
Good, good. Well, and then the second step is really clearing your energy field of anything that doesn't serve you or anything that might be a repetitive pattern that isn't working for you. And then the third thing is to be able to take inspired action because once you've cleared yourself enough, then it's really easy to go, oh my gosh, I think I'm supposed to go do this now. Like, I know I'm supposed to quit my job. Or in the, in other cases, I left a relationship. In another case, I moved across country and recreated myself. And, I'm not saying everybody has to go through those major changes, but I've never looked back and I've never regretted being guided to do that. And
Mhm.
that action came from my direct knowing of what was right for me. So, we have baby steps and we have giant steps when we're ready, and everybody can take exactly the size that's right for them with support, with loving support.
Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled that you're doing what you're doing, and I'm excited to tell us two things as we wrap up. A little bit about your book and a few last words of inspiration.
Oh, fabulous. So, the Hollow Bone of Healing, it's actually a basic self-healing manual. So, it's a perfect place for people to start when they don't know what else to do. It has 4 techniques in there. It has guided meditations that you can access and listen to that are professionally set to music. So, they will really help you to take action on those steps, to listen to them without having to read them and try to figure them out. You just get to follow along in the guided meditation. People have had remarkable experiences from them already. I had one woman that wrote me and said, I got off opioids in 3 days after just, listening to the meditations. Other people are quitting their job, leaving relationships, starting new jobs. I mean, it's just the list just goes on and on. It's so 4 steps, that's all it is, but that's enough to get change going in your life. So it's called The Hollow Bone of Healing, and it's on Amazon, both an ebook and softcover. So
And so then there's like a link to go online for the meditations
yes, inside the book,
in
yes.
the book. Neat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. That's super
And they're
cool.
all free. Yeah.
Amazing. Love it so much. That's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay, so leave us with just what are a few last words of inspiration?
All right. So know that you're not alone, right? Know that there is support out there, and this telesummit is a perfect place to start for that support because you have created that safety net for them, and you've given them all these tools and techniques, to give them a place to start. And also, if you feel like there's something else holding you back, like fear or, your childhood being told you weren't good enough, that kind of thing, we all have that, and it's a work in progress, but it can be cleared so it's not in your way. So just know that there are ways to do that. And I think your show is giving them a lot of options on that. So they've got tools. They've got tools.
Exactly. I think that that's a really big thing is to realize we have these much richer, more unbelievably effective tools than we had before.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So, all right, everybody, make sure you get Phoenix's free gift and get into her community as well, because you're going to get all of these hours of guided processes that are going to help you do this deep work,
Yeah.
and it will help you so much to move out of that fear of being seen. Because once you clear that, what Phoenix is telling me, once you clear those old cellular memories, I think you won't feel scared.
I think that's right. That's exactly right. Nothing will hold you back anymore.
Yeah, super
Yeah.
cool. Love it
Yeah.
so much. Phoenix,
Right.
thank you so much. Everybody, go in the Facebook group, get her gift. And as I always say in parting, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Thanks.